Lost American cowboy wisdom. Tough quotes you've never heard and will never forget. Courage is being scared to death and saddling up anyway. John Wayne. When asked about his childhood aspirations, one was to be a cowboy and another was to be in the military. I grew up extremely patriotic and riding horses. Chris Kyle. The Old West is not a certain place in a certain time. It's a state of mind. It's whatever you want it to be. Tom Mix. I think you're going to find out that Westerns will be coming back. It's Americana. It's part of our history. The cowboy, the cattle drive, the sheriff, the fight for law, order, and justice. Justice will always prevail, as far as I'm concerned. Clayton Moore. It don't take a genius to spot a goat in a flock of sheep. Will Rogers. I'm your huckleberry. Doc Holliday. Don't interfere with something that ain't bothering you none. Roy Bean. Go ahead, skin it. Skin that smoke wagon and see what happens. Wyatt Earp. Some cowboys have too much tumbleweed in their blood to settle down. Ken Alstead. Do right and risk the consequences. Sam Houston. Every country in the world loved the folklore of the West, the music, the dress, the excitement, everything that was associated with the opening of a new territory. It took everybody out of their own little world. The cowboy lasted 100 years, created more songs and prose and poetry than any other folk figure. The closest thing was the Japanese samurai. Now, I wonder will continue it. John Wayne. Never kick a cow chip on a hot day. Will Rogers. A true cowboy knows love, pain, and shame, but never cares about fame. Unknown. Some of these bulls are gonna spin those cowboys so fast, they'll look like a frog in a blender. Wayne White. We ride and never worry about the fall. Guess that's just the cowboy in us all. Tim McGraw. Always drink upstream from the herd. Will Rogers. Your friends might get me in a rush, but not before I make your head into a canoe. Wyatt Earp. For the drover's life has pleasures that the townsfolk never know. Banjo Pedersen. Wyatt. I am rolling. Doc Holliday. You can do anything that you want to do, but don't step on my cowboy boots. Hank Williams, Jr. Good judgment comes from experience, and a lot of that comes from bad judgment. Will Rogers. I've always been really hot on Westerns. All my life growing up, cowboy, cowboy, cowboy. Morgan Freeman. Make no mistake, it's not revenge he's after, it's a reckoning. Doc Holliday. True cowboys are the ones who aren't afraid to get dirty. Lane Frost. Nobody ever saw a cowboy on the psychiatrist's couch. John Wayne. I grew up in southeastern Oklahoma on a working cattle ranch, and it was always very romantic to me. The West, the cowboy, the Western way of life. Reba McEntire. You know horses are smarter than people. You never heard of a horse going broke betting on people. Will Rogers. Like you said, Wyatt, we're brothers. Gotta back your brother's play. Just did like I figured you would. Morgan Earp. A cowboy never takes unfair advantage, even of an enemy. Gene Autry. I ride really well, and I shoot a gun really well. I love the genre. Once I did westerns, I was hooked. I love them, but there's been very few of them made. I never wanted to play a guy who was acting like a cowboy. I wanted to play someone who had a real life, but was also trapped into situations. Lance Henriksen. Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave. Doc Holliday. Cowboy movies aren't supposed to be in vogue. I still like them. You know, I'm still out there pitching the hell out of them. Kevin Costner. You called down the thunder. Well, now you got it. Wyatt Earp. The cowboy music twanged in the roadhouse and carried across the fields. All sadness. It was all right with me. I kissed my baby and we put out the lights. Jack Kerouac. I always wanted to be a cowboy, and Jedi Knights are basically cowboys in space. Right. Liam Neeson.
You are watching Wise Words of Wisdom, Inspirational Quotes, IQ, the Inspirational Quotes channel everyone goes to for their daily motivation and to learn from the most successful men and women in history. If you like today's video, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you never miss a new episode. Today's sponsor is Bob Proctor and the Proctor Gallagher Institute. Discover the secret to having good luck from America's greatest prosperity teacher, Bob Proctor. 6 Minutes to Success is based on Bob's more than 50 years of research into what makes or keeps people from being successful. Get instant access to the free video right now. The link is in the description. Now let's get back to more great quotes.
If you're riding ahead of the herd, take a look back every now and then to make sure it's still there. Will Rogers. Not me. I'm in my prime. Doc Holliday. When you find yourself in a hole, the first thing to do is stop digging. Tamara Weber. No hour of life is wasted that is spent in the saddle. Winston Churchill. There's nothing in life that's worth doing if it can't be done from a horse. Red Steagall. When I was a kid, my stepdad started this business and would go out and get lost cows and stuff. He was part-time truck driver, farmer, and cowboy. He taught me how to ride from an early age. Tim McGraw. There's no normal life, Wyatt. There's just life. Now get on with it. Doc Holliday. If you get to thinking you're a person of some influence, try ordering somebody else's dog around. Will Rogers. Grandpa Patterson used to say, never approach a bull from the front, a horse from the rear, or a fool from any direction. Debbie McComber. In response to being called nothing more than a drunk piano player, I have 2 guns, one for each of ya. Doc Holliday. Cowards never lasted long enough to become real cowboys. Charles Goodnight. I'm a cowboy who never saw a cow. Johnny Mercer. I don't even know how we'll make a living, but I promise I'll love you the rest of your life. Wyatt Earp. We have a sense that we should be like the mythical cowboy, able to take on and conquer anything and live in the world without the need for other people. Maury Schwartz. Don't squat with your spurs on. Will Rogers. I always wanted to be a cowboy, but alas, I was burdened early with certain inescapable obligations to world literature. Edward Abbey. I was feeling real good and real manly until a real cowboy walked by and told me I had my hat on backwards. So much for my career as a cowboy. Michael Bean. I don't care about going down in history as a great bull rider or bronc rider. I hope people will remember me as a great cowboy. Ty Murray. That is a hell of a thing for you to say to me. Doc Holliday. Never slap a man who is chewing tobacco. Will Rogers. Timing has a lot to do with the outcome of a rain dance. Texas Big Spender. Despite what people think of cowboys, they take pride in how they look, and that look is important to them. Steve Cannelly. I must say, as to what I have seen of Texas, it is the garden spot of the world. The best land and the best prospects for health I ever saw, and I do believe it is a fortune to any man to come here. There is a world of country here to settle. Davy Crockett. Always take a good look at what you're about to eat. It's not so important to know what it is, but it's critical to know what it was. Texas Big Spender. Letting the cat out of the bag is a whole lot easier than putting it back in. Will Rogers. The bigger a man's gun, the smaller his doodlewick. Calamity Jane. Well, sir, I may not be a for-real cowboy, but I am one hell of a stud. John Voight. You can't tell how good a man or a watermelon is till they get thumped. Roy Bean. Whoever said a horse was dumb was dumb. Will Rogers. There's a big difference between me and a real legitimate working hand or a world champion rodeo cowboy. I play him, and I aspire to be like that. But those guys are tough. Luke Perry. Speak your mind, but ride a fast horse. Texas Big Spender. There are three kinds of men. The one that learns by reading. The few who learn by observation. The rest of them have to pee on the electric fence for themselves. Will Rogers. It's a lot like nuts and bolts. If the rider's nuts, the horse bolts. Nicholas Evans. My father's a protector. My father's old school. He's a cowboy. Paul Walker. Upon four-legged forest clouds, the cowboy angel rides. Bob Dylan. For some reason, cowboy sounds better than cowman. Dimitri Martin. I have at all times tried to use my influence toward protecting the property holders and substantial men of the country from thieves, outlaws, and murderers, among whom I do not care to be classed. Clay Allison. I was told when I grew up I could be anything I wanted. A fireman, a policeman, a doctor, even president, it seemed. And for the first time in the history of mankind, something new, called an astronaut. But like so many kids brought up on a steady diet of Westerns, I always wanted to be the avenging cowboy hero, that lone voice in the wilderness, fighting corruption and evil wherever I found it, and standing for freedom, truth, and justice. And in my heart of hearts, I still track the remnants of that dream wherever I go, in my endless ride into the setting sun. Bill Hicks. I'd like to live on horseback and just be a cowboy. Paul Walker. We are rough men and used to rough ways. Bob Younger. Everyone has a first love and mine was the Western. When I was a child and dreamed of the movies, it was always as a cowboy on a white horse. Franco Nero. No cowboy ever quit while his life was hardest and his duties were most exacting. J. Frank Dobie. We hope you have enjoyed these quotes as much as we do. We know your time is very important. Thank you for choosing to spend it with us. We look forward to seeing you on the next one. Click the card to check out another great one now. Wise words of wisdom, inspirational quotes, IQ.